What is coalition building? Well, if that's your question, you are in the right place. I'm going to give you an answer, and that answer is the best answer you're going to find on YouTube. In the first half of this video, we're going to talk about what coalition building is and why it is important. In the second half of this video, we're going to talk about how you build a coalition. Stay with me because this is valuable information to you. In its basic form, what is coalition building? It's a group of influential people or opinion leaders or cause-driven organizations that come together to become part of a coalition lined up behind a political candidate to advance their cause and help them win an election. It could be composed of leaders of a political party. Part of the coalition could be elected officials of the party that you belong to. It could be organizations that are trying to influence public policy, what we call cause-driven organizations, to try and bring more housing to a community or clean up a lake or advance the cause of social justice or to bring taxes down. Lots of organizations like that get involved in politics, and they are key components of the coalitions that politicians put together. Now, if you are a Democrat, there are certain kinds of organizations that are probably going to at least be willing to take a look at you. They are social justice. They are civil rights groups. They are groups that believe in a clean environment. They are groups that believe in well-funded public education. They are groups that believe in health care for more people and the cause of affordable health care. If you are a Republican, typically these are the kinds of groups that might be inclined to take a look at you. They are anti-tax. They are organizations that are pro-life. They are pro-parent. They believe in religious freedom. They advocate for small business growth. They are pro-development. They believe in less spending and fewer taxes. Those are generally part of any coalition that a Republican candidate puts together. Those are the kind of organizations, depending on what you are running for, that you may want to consider courting as you put together a coalition in a political campaign. Why is this important? Because it gets you attention when it's announced that these groups are supporting you. It increases your credibility as a candidate. Support from these organizations help you raise money. They prove to the public at large and other influencers that you are a viable candidate. Your name ends up in the newspaper. Your name ends up on cable TV newscasts. Gradually, your name recognition begins to improve. You also, when you get these kinds of people in your coalition, get access to manpower, as in the form of volunteers, and sometimes you get money to help fund your political campaign. All right, so we've covered what they are and why they are important. Now, let's talk about you and how these are put together in a coalition that you might want to build for yourself someday. The very first thing you do at the outset of a political campaign is create a list of influential people and influential opinion leaders and influential organizations whose support you want to solicit. It could be the leaders of your particular party. It could be influential people in your community. It could be the leaders of cause-driven organizations in your jurisdiction. If you are not sure about what organizations you should be soliciting, well, here's a tip. Go to ChatGPT. You can buy a subscription to that for $20 a month. Ask ChatGPT what the cause-driven organizations are in your community. It may not give you a complete answer, but it will give you a start of where to look. Here's another tried and true way. Let's say, and this happened with me a while back, there was a Democrat who had called me and was wondering about what sort of influential organization she should be courting in her campaign. And we were on a Zoom call, so I looked up the website of a candidate who had run in her jurisdiction before. And we pulled out the archives of that website, and on her website she had listed 32 different organizations that had endorsed her in that race 2 years before. There it was in front of her eyeballs, and she could see exactly, oh, these organizations supported the candidate who ran 2 years ago. These are the same organizations I should be approaching now. It is the first step in building a coalition. You have to ask, and you have to figure out who to ask. Now, once you have your list, how do you start? Well, first is you take a list of all of these influential people and opinion leaders and organizations that you're aware of or have a friend in. And you start with people that you may know. And you begin to build. Let's say you convinced one of the leaders in the political party to which you belong to support your campaign. They in turn are going to know other people inside that political organization that you should talk to, and maybe they would even be willing to put in a good word for you or to invite you to a coffee with them. That's a political organization. You start with the public figures in your community who are affiliated with your party. It's always a good idea to chat with them, especially if you're a first-time candidate, because they've been through political campaigns. They have sought these kinds of endorsements in the past. They may know people that you don't, that they can put you in touch with, whose endorsement you want to solicit. So it starts with one or two, and then you make it grow. And I'm going to illustrate what I'm saying here with a story. It was one of the very first campaigns I was involved with. He was a state senator. He had been a state senator for any number of years. He had had a pro-union voting record, and one day he decided he wanted to run for governor. Now, this particular candidate was not the favorite of the party establishment because he was a bit of a populist. But he had had a wonderful relationship with union leaders in his state. There were 63 union organizations that were part of the umbrella of the AFL-CIO. At the time, one of the most powerful labor organizations in that state. And this is what he did. He got the list of everyone, and he earmarked the labor leaders he knew. And he approached 3 at the very beginning that he was especially close to, and he had conversations with them about the possibility of having their support in a gubernatorial race. They gave him the go-ahead. They then, in turn, started calling other union leaders that they knew that the candidate did not know, and spreading the word that we, the union movement, had a great candidate, and all he needed was a step in the right direction, some early support to begin solidifying the coalition of labor unions in that state to speak with one voice through him. Well, the 3 became 6, and then the 6 became 12, and the 12 grew to 25. And then one day there was an AFL-CIO convention, and he worked the floor, his friends worked the floor of that convention, and voila, that day the AFL-CIO voted to endorse this insurgent candidate for governor. And boy, did that work wonders. I was there. It was on the news for 5 days straight. How did this obscure state senator that none of the establishment was willing to take seriously suddenly, overnight, seem to become a major player in a gubernatorial campaign? That was how it was done. It was coalition building in its most basic form. Now, there's one trick to how you make the most of endorsements in organizations that are going public with their willingness to support you. And that is how you roll it out to the media. Because reporters will notice this sort of thing if you're picking up one organization after another. The worst thing to do is not breathe a word to anybody and then in one press release one day announce that 12 organizations have decided to endorse you and get involved in your campaign. If you do it that way, you're going to get a one-day story. The way you should do it is roll an announcement out each and every day for a 2-week period, because it gives you sustained exposure in the media instead of bottling it up into a one-day story. So as you get these endorsements, do not be afraid to put them on social media, to put it out in press releases, to amplify that post with your friends on Facebook so the whole world knows that you are gaining steam. Oh, by the way, if you are thinking of running for office someday, I have a free gift for you. It's called 12 Essential Steps to Prepare for a Political Campaign. It's yours, free. Click the link below this video and get your copy. Now, there is an essential tool to building coalitions that we have not had time to discuss in this video. It is called social media. While this material is still fresh in your mind, I'm going to encourage you to go watch the video. The title of it is How to Use Social Media in a Political Campaign. Go there now, grab a pen, because you're going to want to take notes. Watch it while this is still fresh in your mind.